Have you ever felt guilty for something you didn't do? It's an unsettling feeling, isn't it? The sensation of guilt can be a powerful motivator for change, a beacon guiding us back to the path of morality and decency. But when guilt is misplaced or unwarranted, it can become a burden, a source of unnecessary suffering. Enter the concepts of true guilt and false guilt, two sides of the same coin, yet with very different implications. True guilt is the emotional response that bubbles up when we realize we've crossed a moral line or caused harm to someone else. It's the sting of conscience that prompts us to right our wrongs, to apologize, or to change our ways to avoid repeating the same mistakes. In a way, true guilt can be seen as a healthy, adaptive emotion. On the other hand, false guilt is a shadow of the real thing, a feeling of guilt without any objective reason behind it. This type of guilt is born from irrational or distorted beliefs, often stemming from perfectionism, the desire to please others, or excessive self-blame. It's the guilt we feel when we've been conditioned to believe we should, must, or ought to be something we're not. So how do you tell the difference between true and false guilt? Let's break it down. First, consider the source. True guilt comes from actual moral transgressions, while false guilt is based on perceived, not real wrongdoing. Second, think about the impact. True guilt spurs change and growth. False guilt, however, is maladaptive, leading to a cycle of self-blame, self-condemnation, and even anxiety. Third, look at the objectivity. True guilt is tied to actions with actual consequences. False guilt is fueled by irrational thoughts and beliefs. False guilt can take a toll on your mental health and overall well-being. It can lead to increased anxiety and stress, lower self-esteem, depression, and strain in your relationships. But there's hope. By practicing self-reflection, mindfulness, and self-compassion, you can start to distinguish between true and false guilt. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, can also help in identifying and challenging irrational beliefs and behaviors associated with false guilt. And let's not forget the power of forgiveness, both self-forgiveness and the forgiveness of others, in resolving true guilt and moving forward. In conclusion, guilt is a complex emotion that can either serve as a constructive guide for moral behavior or become a destructive force when it's unfounded or irrational. Understanding the difference between true and false guilt is a critical step towards emotional well-being and healthier relationships.